Actually, this is a fake recording because the first recording was gone bad, so we have to record the first talk again, only my part. So the room is nearly empty, but I will try to remake the first talk I made. So okay, one guy is still sitting here. Welcome to FOSDEM. It's the third year we are attending FOSDEM. FOSDEM is a very important show for us. We have also other important shows, of course, like the Linux Talk in Germany, but the focus of FOSDEM is developers. So we have a lot of developer talks here. When you look at the schedule compared to other shows, you will see that the focus is really made on developers. We also we asked people in the community what kind of talks do you want for the show. Also tried to figure out what were the most successful talks last year. For example, the laptop tracks are quite successful. So we have again, on the second day and tomorrow, we have a lot of laptop talks. The main focus today is the distribution. So I start with this talk here, then we have an overview about what's in openSUSE 11, what will be in openSUSE 11. And we have a lot of build service tracks after that. And don't forget the community talk we have after that. The main topic for this talk is figure out what happened in the last year, what are the nice things we made, what we achieved, and also the problems. But the problem is we didn't have any big problems at the moment, so we have to figure that out. I will split the talk in my presentation, so what happened last year. Then we have a short presentation from Kulo about the openSUSE board. And last we will have an introduction of Joe Brockmeyer, also known as Zonker, who is in Europe for openSUSE for the first time. So let me start with my presentation. And the first thing I want to talk, of course, a very nice thing. We had last year a new distribution called openSUSE 2008. I guess most of you are using it already, so I don't want to talk in detail about openSUSE. So it's the latest version, it's pretty rough, pretty solid, and we had a very, very successful launch for openSUSE 10.3. You can compare it over the first 30 hours we had installation download numbers were 100 terabytes. So in 30 hours, 100 terabytes downloaded images. If you compare the numbers with other distribution, older release distributions, we are at the moment, we have 700,000 installations for openSUSE 10.3. And if it's going on like this, we will have by far the most successful release ever. Basically, you can say that most of the older distributions have something like 1.something million installed users, user base. So 10.3 quite successful. We changed the media layout a little bit. For the first time we used Kiwi for the live images, for the live DVD. It's a very nice thing to use Kiwi. You can do it also for your own. We will have tomorrow a talk about Kiwi by Jan. So if you're interested how to build your own distribution, how to build your own media, USB stick, whatever, go to the talk tomorrow from Jan. And the nice thing is, for the first time we have in the live system, we have also an installer. So we didn't have it for a long time, other distributions have it. So you can start the live system, play it with around, and just click on the installer and it will install on your hard drive. The best feature, in my opinion, is the one-click install. So it's so easy now to install packages from other sources. I mean, if you download the software for Linux, most of the times you have just the source code, you have to compile it, and then you have to install it in the right directories and stuff like this. So a usual user cannot do that. It's not possible. Sometimes you find packages even for your distribution, but you have to install it, you have to take care of all the dependencies and stuff like that. So with the one-click install feature, it's pretty easy. You just go to a website with this feature, click on a button and it will install the package with all the dependencies. Very nice thing is that it's coming from the community. Benjamin Weber made it. It's already available on the build service, and also third-party pages like Pacman are supporting it. So if you want to offer some packages, you can offer it now with a one-click install to get a broader user base. Build service. As I said before, you can also now install packages from the build service with one click install, pretty easy. Finally, we have a quite good search interface, so you can search for all the packages, all the different distributions. And of course, the most important thing, we release it. We opened the build service last year in August. So before it was a closed thing, more or less. So not everybody get an account. So now if you have a Novell account, means a Wiki or Bacilla account, you can also use the build service. Build service, great for building packages. If you're not a developer, you will find a lot of packages you can install made for your distribution use. For example, we're using openSUSE, we are having the enterprise products from Novell. We also have other distributions like Fedora, Mandriva, Debian, Ubuntu, of course. So you can build packages for all these distributions and for also different architectures at the moment for 32 and 64-bit. This button. Okay, design. Sometimes it's not really important that you have nice picture, flashy stuff. Sometimes it's really the usability design. One very important thing we changed in the last year is the download page. The download page, if you remember, was a very big table with a lot of columns and rows and stuff like that. So if you want to download our software, if you want to finally install it, it was not quite easy. And even I had problems to figure out what I really have to pick there. Now it's very, very easy. You just have to select your architecture, you just have to select if you want a CD or DVD, and you just have to select what kind of download you want to use, like BitTorrent, FTP, or HTTP. We changed also the design of our web pages. I guess first we changed the wiki, and now we have a more or less unified design on all openSUSE pages. So go to the wiki, go to the splash page, go to the build service. Every page looks more or less the same. We made the design with the community, of course, so we asked the community and we get a lot of input how to change the page. I guess the most missing link we had in openSUSE was the news page, where you finally can find out what happened in the openSUSE universe. And so Stefan Binner, called Binary, started news.opensuse.org. On news.opensuse.org you find all the stuff happening in the openSUSE universe. And the nice thing is it's also living from user contributions, of course. So if you have a nice story, if you found out something new about openSUSE, just post it to news.opensuse.org and you put it on the page. Of course it's aggregated to PlanetSUSE for other pages. So after news.opensuse.org, another very nice thing, so we have something like an overload of information. If you really want to track what's happening in openSUSE, it's not that easy. We have the mailing list, we have the wiki, we have the news page now. And Francis created a newsletter called Wiki News, where you can find out about openSUSE, about the distribution. It's a very nice summary, and you don't have to read all the stuff. You can just select what you really want to read, and for more information. Guiding principles, we started it nearly 1.5 years ago. It was in December. We started making a draft, for people making the draft, and then we released it on the mailing list, on the project mailing list for comments. So many people commented on that. Then we released it finally in November last year. And I guess it's very important because some people are really asking, why are you supporting the project? What are the goals behind the project? Why should I join the project? And what are the other people doing? So Guiding Principles is really a very nice document where you can find what is really the goal of openSUSE, how to behave and stuff like that. And this is very important for us. It's not like developers created this document with the community. Also Novell accepted because some very high Novell manager signed also the Guiding Principles. So it's not just paper or something like that. This is very important for us. People of openSUSE, Annika created during her internship interview series with people working on the openSUSE project, internal people working for SUSE Novell, but of course also community members. And after Annika left the internship, Carlos took over. And so it's really made from the community, for the community, with the community. It's very nice to get people more known, because sometimes you just read emails, you just see some wiki pages, or see them on IRC. So if you want to find out more about the people working in the openSUSE universe, you can go to People of openSUSE, which is of course on news.opensuse.org also. We made last year about 4 surveys. Surveys are important because if you're working very close with the project, sometimes you just don't see what's going on. So you have to measure it. One type of measure is, for example, what kind of programs do you use? Do you think the installation workflow is okay? Why do you contribute to the project? So we had 4 surveys last year, and very important for us, we released all the data we got there. So these surveys are completely open. So if you're interested in the surveys, just go to the page and look at them, at the results. Many people demanded or requested that they want to buy openSUSE merchandise. It's not that easy to handle it, so selling t-shirts is not our main business. So what we made is we made a shop with our partner Virtual Shirt, and there you can buy t-shirts, hats, mugs and other stuff. Main goal is clearly we don't want to make money with that. So it's nearly the lowest price we can offer on Spreadshirt. It's still not that low, but that's all we have at the moment. If you have an idea for nice design, just send it to us and we will look at it, and maybe we have a new openSUSE t-shirt soon. This is the end of my talk. Now Kulo starts with the talk about the openSUSE board, and now Kulo.
Either between community members, between community members, or between Novell and community, or on general meetings, problems, etc. So the facility communication, the goal is to have like this FOSDEM come from the board in the future. Currently it's mostly from Novell, but the goal is definitely that we want to have this board to drive these, but as I said, we are still very young in this process. So the facility designing processes where we faced the problem in the past that when we wanted to change something, like introducing these guiding principles, we had no idea how to do it, and this is basically the start point where we want to go from. So that the board, once it's elected, has an has the agenda to drive these processes when there's decision to make in the community. So what's to do still is how to elect this board. There are several other foundations that elect a board where we can pick or we can look at, but we haven't yet managed to do that. And what we are currently working on most is to basically name the people in the community and give them membership. And with this comes an openSUSE.org address where you can see, okay, this is Jordi at openSUSE.org, or this is Zonker at openSUSE.org. He's from openSUSE. He's not just a random guy that used to get a promo DVD at FOSDEM, but he's really into that community. So, but if you want to contact us or have concrete feedback, then don't wait and send an email to the board at openSUSE.org.
Okay, thank you very much. So, I guess many of you heard that we had last year an open job position at Novell or SUSE for the openSUSE evangelist. And now finally we have someone, the job description changed a little bit, it's now community manager. And so welcome for the first time in Europe, I guess, for openSUSE for sure, Zonker.
Can everybody hear me? I'm a fairly loud person, so thanks. All right. Before we get started talking about me, I want to see kind of a show of hands here. How many people are from Germany here? Okay. Belgium? France? UK? Anyone else here from the US? Okay, feel so at home. Anybody outside those areas that I've mentioned? Okay. I'm just kind of curious to see the community that showed up here, to see how many people traveled a fair amount of way to actually participate in FOSDEM and participate in the room. So I'm glad to see that there are a lot of people who have traveled a fair distance to be here. So I'm glad to see everybody so enthused and excited in this room. It's great. So anyway, my name's Joe Brockmeyer. Most of my friends and colleagues call me Zonker. If you see me out and you want to get my attention, Joe or Zonker will work. Also, hey guy, usually works. So anyway, so I'm the new community manager, and a lot of people kind of wonder what that means. What specifically things that I'll be doing, in addition to going to shows and trying to make a spectacle of myself talking, will include working with the community to find out what the tools are we need to A, allow the community to contribute to openSUSE, and B, to take those requests back to Novell, back to the SUSE team, and make sure that we have those things. It also means working with the internal team to make sure that we are appropriately supporting openSUSE and its development. And those sorts of things, making sure that we can put on some sort of an openSUSE conference at some point, and making sure that we are getting the word out about openSUSE. I think openSUSE is probably one of the best distributions available, but historically have not been really good about promoting it. I know that there are a lot of things going on in openSUSE that people don't necessarily know about, and so one of the things that I want to do personally is to amplify those things and make sure that everybody is hearing about things like the build service. How many people have heard about the fact that the YAS team has done the work to split off the UI stuff so that people can take advantage of those libraries, even if they're not writing for YAS? See, not enough people. So, I mean, those things are useful to developers and other projects. And speaking of other projects, another thing that I'll be doing is sort of doing outreach and working with upstream projects to make sure that they're happy with the way that their packages are represented in openSUSE, and trying to get a little more, get rid of some of the redundancy between distributions and things like that, so that, you know, projects that we're working on are less, there's less silos in terms of one distribution working on a similar project to another. So, anyway, my background real quick. For about 9 years I've worked as a tech journalist covering Linux and open source, and I'm really excited to have an opportunity to actually be involved directly with an open source project instead of just observing and writing about it. So I think I've probably talked enough about myself. Oh, people keep asking, just for anybody who's curious, I live in the US and I'm based in Florida. I work from home. So if you happen to get hold of my home number, be gracious about calling past 9 a.m. or p.m. So does anybody have any questions for me? That's easy. Okay. Thanks.
So it was just a short introduction of Zonker. Thank you very much. He's around here both days, so if you have questions for him, just ask him, just poke him. It's a show. So the next talk starts in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So we tried here with the first talk, I tried to make a short overview what happened last year. And as I said, I really tried to figure out some bad things. I even talked with Michael 5 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. And the problem is, it's quite hard. We don't know what bad things happened last year. Server outage, we fixed it, so everything is good. So it's not really a bad thing. So I guess we are pretty good set up at the moment for the next distribution, for the next year. And if you have suggestions, also about the talk, the FOSDEM, we tried to make it very interesting. Of course, we have a big build service because I guess the build service is very, very important to grow openSUSE. We have a big laptop track again, because we saw last year laptop tracks are quite good visited. So we have again this year 3 talks. So if you're interested in that, go there. And so you have also some smaller various talks which are not really bound to a track. If you have suggestions what we should do next year on other events, please just send us an email, go to the openSUSE project mailing list and contact us. Because it's very important, because we are not doing this for us here, we're doing it for the community, of course. If you want to make a talk, no problem, just send me an abstract or a short line and we will try to figure it out, so on the next event you can also make a community talk. This year we have 2 community talks, one from both Jordis and one from Benjamin Weber. And we want more, so it's, the event is not really that the SUSE guys coming here and making all the presentations. We want talks from the community. The community is very active, the openSUSE community, so they should also present what they are doing. So, are there any questions left, general questions maybe? Not all? Okay. So the next talk will be maybe more interesting because it's showing some new stuff for you. And the next talk is looking ahead to openSUSE 11, made by Kudo, who is the, what are you, project manager? District manager, distribution. Project manager distribution, so he should know what's going on. So it's going on, I guess, in 5 minutes or something like that. So thank you.